Hello. How have you been? Now, forgive me. We were trying to have a little chat a week ago on, last Wednesday? And, the ether, the internet, the World Wide Web failed us. But it failed us for the last time. You might notice the surroundings are slightly different because we're pivoting. I am operating out of a shared working space because my home internet isn't working. So you know what it's like when you're working from home? Anyway, I'm glad you can be here. It's Monday, I know, but look, doesn't matter. All I want to do is bring you today's guest, but I'll tell you about her in a minute. If you haven't watched How to Come Out on Top before, let me tell you what we do. We are here to bring together all of us in the industry who are having a tough time. We're here to talk about what we can do to embrace this time, however tricky, however lonely, however isolating it might be, and figure out what's going on out there in the industry. We're talking to the best names in creative content who are Bloomtime Media mentors. So they have been joining us for the past series and into series 2. It's now like 12, 14 weeks since lockdown began here in Australia in Sydney. And so we've had the pleasure of having the best chats. We've had a giggle or two, I'll tell you that much. And also I'm hearing such incredible feedback from you. You're following what we're doing, you're listening to the chats late at night, and you're catching up with me, and that means everything. So another thing I will say is that all these wonderful Bloomtime Media mentors are clocking that you're listening and are getting more and more involved. So keep staying tuned. Let's hope the internet doesn't fail us today. Anyway, let me introduce myself. My name is Yana Groves. I work primarily in unscripted. I've worked on shows like Farmer Wants a Wife, which is great this season, by the way, Big Brother, Celebrity Apprentice, Bachelor in Paradise, etc., etc. So I've worked on several things. I've worked with some crazy talent as well, crazy good talent. I've met people like Michael Palin, Maya Angelou, Rolf Harris. I'm sure you all have a celebrity story or two as well. So also, let me tell you what we do at Bloomtime Media. We have mentorships, training and mentorships for people who want to enter the industry and also for people who want to pivot. And, sorry, I know I keep using that word, but I love it. It's short, it's sweet, it says everything. For those who want to upskill, if you want to sidestep, if you're a mum or a dad who's been at home or working hard to bring up the family, maybe you want to come back into the industry. So what we're doing is creating a scenario where you can get yourself back in the game, skin in the game, and face-to-face with the industry leaders and get your CV, that fresh CV, on the important desks. So that's what we do. I'll tell you more about our courses coming up because I've got really exciting news for you. So what else to tell you? We have chatted to amazing people. And specifically in Series 2, who have we talked to? We've spoken to executive producer and founding mother of Aussie TV, Virginia Hodgson. We have spoken to network executive turned software CEO of Lumi Media, Karen Dewey. And we last week spoke to actor and TV host, comedian, founder of Sweary Canary, Christy Best. I hope you weren't offended by some of the swearing. Do you know what? What I love about being able to talk to you in this forum is that, we're just free. We're just having a chat. We haven't got millions of sponsorship dollars riding on our backs. We're just here to chat. So this week, we will be speaking to a phenomenal woman who has actually been my mentor along the way. She is the ultimate mentor. She's a former exec who's headed up factual, current affairs, production development for major networks like ABC, SBS, ITV, Foxtel. She's the co-founder of Media Mentors, Denise Eriksen. And she is here to give us some indication of what she's been up to. And I'm telling you, some very, very big game-changing things. So we'll be talking to her shortly. How have you been in lockdown? We have really, been in this roller coaster of uncertainty. Obviously, it depends where you're living in terms of what's been happening for you and what's been feeling good in these times. Have you continued to work? Perhaps you've had to change what you're doing. I know quite a few people who've chosen different ways of raising an income while being creative in their spare time. Anyway, we're going to be talking about all of this. Did you know that Screen Australia has announced last week some development funding of $1.6 million? That's here in Australia for 42 new screen projects. That's 14 feature films, 20 television dramas, 8 online projects. So we've got a lot going on. Now, I'm just wondering, can everybody hear me? It could be that we're experiencing technical difficulties again. That would be funny. I'm going to keep talking until someone tells me otherwise. Anyway, why don't I just send a little message to our fabulous production assistant, Tara Johnson, and see if she knows what's going on. Tara, are we live? Question mark. Let's see. Well, it says I'm live, so I'm just going to keep going. All right. Okay. So, jobs. There are jobs coming up. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled on those Facebook pages I've been talking about. So, Australia, I need crew professionals. Australia, I need crew entry level. Women in telly. There are so many great organizations that you can keep your eye on that are there for us. Now, I want to introduce our very special guest, the legend behind the most cutting-edge content, a striking storyteller, and monumental monarch in the Australian screen industry. She loves me doing this. I know she's loving it. It's Denise Eriksen, everyone. Denise, how are you?
Whoa!
Woohoo!
It's so funny when I hear that. When I knew you were saying that, I was going, oh my God, it's like they're bringing the Nana out. The old bat. Yay!
How could you say that, Linda?
No, but I love it, actually. I love being older because, I've had a bloody brilliant career. Very strange in many respects. And it's actually really cool to be able to talk to people about some of the stuff I've learnt. And so I've been really lucky to have that big bulk of experience behind me. So I'm not whinging, trust me.
I also feel the same. I think there's no point hiding your age. I'm an advocate for celebrating your years of experience on this planet. And why would you hide it, right?
Yeah, but I do use my sister's age because she's a bit younger than me. And I remember that then.
Oh my God. Well, look, I'm so elated you're joining. Now, we have had some technical difficulties in the last week. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'm just elated that I've got you here and to see your amazing face and to hear from what you've done and your experience. It's huge. And in fact, we first met when I was doing an afters training course and you were one of the mentors there.
Right.
Changed my life.
Oh, love you. And you are doing the same for so many people. You're doing a bloody brilliant job with Bloom Time. So keep it up. I've been watching what you've been doing and good on you.
Thank you so much. So look, tell me, you've been doing amazing things. So you've set up Media Mentors Australia. How's that going? It must be an amazing time to be bringing industry greats together.
Well, it sort of came about later last year. I've been mentoring for years, always unpaid, and so I don't never minded either. But my colleague and my co-founder, who's also my daughter-in-law, Esther, we were thinking that we could, do a business which helped people. And of course, we had no particular business plan, but we knew we wanted to do events as networking. So we got one of them up with Afters in February and Acme. And we thought we'd use that as our springboard. Yeah, not really. We had one of them. No, two of them. We did one in January and one in February, and then March, not so much. And so we decided we would pivot. We didn't really have to pivot because we didn't really have a business. And we've just taken everything online. Esther came up with a really genius idea of 26 we've done running free, they're called, with Acme, skill sessions that were free to our industry that has been hurting so much. So that effectively became the launching pad for a business which is now thriving so far.
That's amazing. Isn't it wonderful? I
Mm.
think we're living in such uncertain times. The best we can do is see what people need. And I think we're in the same space, just trying to
Yes,
help people out.
yes, we are. And I do think that, and I think that the television industry over the years has become quite disparate. And because you're usually only hired for a short term gig, it's very rare that you'll be working for one company for a long term. And I think it's harder to find that support and the hope and the caring that you need from colleagues. And it's certainly something that we've noticed that, and particularly now with COVID, it's much, much harder for people to find that support that they need to keep going.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well.
Mm.
The feedback that I've had um, during this crazy time is that even people who aren't in the industry, this isn't just for people who are in telly. I think it's a shared experience. That's probably what's bringing us all together. That we're all suffering in some way. Our lives have changed irrevocably, and to know that there are people out there like yourselves to reach out to,
And you.
to reach out to, and have a natter to, and just know that you're not alone, and also to have people who can actually have fingers in pies and connect
Yeah,
and
and
get
the thing
you.
too, people lose confidence. I mean, I'm sure you found that too.
Oh
And a
yes.
lot of what we do is to sort of re-examine and reignite people and saying, well, hang on a minute, you've done an enormous amount in your career. Let's actually work out how you could build on that, perhaps go in just slightly different directions. And you know what? It's men and women. We're finding, probably not quite 50-50, but I reckon 60-40. Women are more clients of ours, but there's a lot of men in there going through the same thing too. And actually, we love working with them because it's so exciting to discover the skills they've got and go, well, hang on a minute, what about all this? And it's just a time where, even though it's hope, there's not a lot of hope around in some ways, there's an enormous amount of hope around in other ways. And I find it quite exciting, to be honest. I think we've got a chance to recalibrate the world. God knows if we'll take it, but we can give it a go.
Well, speaking of recalibrating the world, you had a very valuable online chat
And
last week, didn't you?
oh my God, I did. Thanks to Film Victoria, who've been a big supporter of ours, and Acme. We do these things on the first Thursday of every month called Running Free Live, and we try and get all the decision makers in there, and people that can actually help. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm getting pings. I thought I'd sorted that. People that can actually give good information from the coalface that people want. So that we did all of the heads of broadcasters last month, and then this month we thought, right, we're going to do the funding bodies, and there's 9 of them. And so I put out an invitation to everybody thinking, yeah, I'll be lucky to get 3. They're all really busy, and it's 7 o'clock at night. Why would they want to do that? Holy hell, I got 9. I got Screen Australia, and every funding body in Australia said yes. So here I was, honestly, and I felt like a conductor of a choir of 9 people, and they were awesome. And we, rather than go, oh my God, it's so awful, we won't talk about anything good, I said, no, this is going to be what we call a green shoots discussion. I want to hear, of course, we accept and value and understand that people are hurting, and some of the survey informations of our community show just how much. I think one of the figures from New South Wales survey from Screen New South Wales was 91% of freelancers had lost on average something like $20,000 worth of work. So we knew we're not going to be Pollyanna about this. It's tough. But what they did is they ran through, and one of the most amazing things that came out really quickly is that as soon as COVID happened, all of these people got together and started having weekly meetings for the first time. Now, they'd met sporadically before, but immediately this collegiate approach came from all 9 of them. And I suppose that was why it was really easy to conduct the choir in this case, because they were used to it. They had some fledgling good news for us, like the COVID plan that was actually developed thanks to the efforts of Nell Greenwood and Afters, brought together industry, funding bodies, broadcasters, and they formulated a fantastic COVID plan which set out everything that you had to do, and it was all approved by the relevant health and safety people, which meant it enabled production around Australia to get back into it. And even here in Melbourne, where we've got Neighbours going, we've got Wentworth, we've got things like, there's another drama which I've now forgotten the name of because it's just started, and there's things like The Masked Singer, The Block. All of those things have been in production thanks to this brilliant COVID and collaborative COVID planning. So, it was actually a really positive discussion, and if people missed it, it's up on the ACME YouTube channel. I might as well do a free plug, Yanni.
Plug away. Plug away.
Up there, Running Free and Running Free Live. Running Free is the skill sessions. Running Free Live is the actual, the live ones on a Thursday night.
Well, just to bring in, to know that there are discussions happening. And this is what I find very interesting. When COVID hit, when I was speaking to people off camera, I think most were going, I have no idea. This is why this Facebook Live is called What the Hell to Do Next and Other Unanswerable Questions, because nobody knew. And I'm so pleased to see that there are so many new initiatives and people literally going with an open mind and looking at the industry from fresh eyes.
Well, I think with them too is that they knew they'd have different funding models as a result of COVID, because there was no point funding feature films that wouldn't be, going into production as planned, say, later this year. So what they did is they recalibrated all of their funding and worked out where they could put things. So, and they all made the point that very few of them have got any extra money here, particularly Screen Australia. They were saying, for example, they've set up a COVID costs fund so that if there's extra costs being involved in COVID production, which of course there's significant costs. So they've diverted money from another pot and diverted it into paying for production extra costs. And it'll be really interesting because I think one of the things that'll come out later is how it changes production.
Yeah.
Because COVID production is much slower. They can't film as quickly. And there are all sorts of, really, really interesting production decisions being made as a result. And the funding bodies are right up. They announced, I think it might be one of the first time ever, they announced a joint short film initiative last week, which is worth having a look at because they're calling for entries for it now. And it's all around Australia and people are being invited to submit applications for it. And that's with every funding body in Australia. They also reported things like in Tasmania, for example, they started working with theatre groups and doing theatre productions and working with different creative groups of people. And I mean, in Screen West, look, all of them have been fantastic. Screen Queensland, all of them. And Screen West. But the best story, I've got to tell you the story.
Tell me the story.
Best production imperative came from Screen New South Wales. And it was this film that was due to go into production called Children of the Wheat, I think. Or Children
of the Corn.
Huh?
Children of the Corn.
That's it. Yeah. I get confused. Like it's all the same to me. It's all sort of,
It's a legume.
Yeah. And so, but Grania Brunson was telling us that the University of New South Wales had grown a crop of corn specifically for the production, okay? So if they delayed the production, the corn was frankly buggered and the film had no cornfields for the kids to run through. So they had to Really, and so they took over all the hotels nearby. They put everybody into quarantine. They worked to their COVID plan, and they got the kids running through the corn. I loved that so
I
much.
love that because it wouldn't have worked without the field of corn.
Absolutely.
And you're right. Otherwise, it would have been children of the wheat
Yeah,
or
yeah,
children of
definitely.
the
Yeah,
sugar
should have.
cane.
Yeah. Uh, children of the whatever.
Yeah.
So, that was good. It was really good. And we had lots of discussions, actually, just getting some water.
Yes, I'm a bit parched myself. I think it must be the weather. It's that winter air.
Yeah, well, it's actually lovely in Melbourne today. I heard it was raining in Sydney, and that gave me a little touch of thank God for that.
Ah, thanks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
As long as you're all right, Jack. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say this because you are in Melbourne.
We are.
And for those of you who aren't in Australia and don't know the news, Melbourne is on pretty high lockdown again. So, how has life been for you?
Initially, it was really horrible because the second time is much worse
Yeah.
because you always had that little ray of sunshine that, oh my God. And then when we were able to go to the movies for 5 minutes, it was like, hallelujah. And then, uh-oh. So initially it wasn't. And then I thought, okay, I can just sit here and cry and whinge and go under my bed and hide. And then I thought, you know what, bugger it. And also, I think seeing photos out of Beirut, there was a particularly amazing series of photographs by a Lebanese photographer that were stunning. And I looked at those faces and I thought, hello, I'm whinging about sitting in
Yeah.
a beachfront apartment with, BWS delivering my wine whenever I want it. Hello, what's not to love?
Yeah.
But I don't think in all seriousness that you can underestimate the mental health impacts this time. Because I think it's much more depressing, and I think that the impact on businesses, not film necessarily and television, but generally, will be much harder. But hey, what's the alternative? So we're all getting on with it, really. I mean, that's what you do, isn't it?
That is exactly what we have to do.
Yeah.
And I usually start my Facebook lives just saying, I know it's tough out there, but hang in, there will be a brighter day and life is going on and we will make the best of this if we
Yeah,
can.
what we've found is that actually it's been amazing. We are doing sessions all around Australia. We're doing conferences that we would normally be going to, but we can't. But people, like we're running a course at the moment for Screenworks in regional New South Wales, and they roll out training all around Australia and the regions. And so we got a chance to pilot a brand new 8-week program online, and actually we're bloody loving it. I mean, we've got 17 people, which is far too many, but they're all awesome, and we're making them do homework, and we're making them really accountable, and we make them come back and we make them read out their homework, and it's fantastic, and we just love it. And we wouldn't have been doing that if we weren't in this position. So, and also I'll tell you one really bad thing now, though, the worst thing, okay? There's a particular packet of chocolate biscuits that both me and Esther, who's my co-founder, absolutely adore, okay? I bought them the other day before lockdown. I have to eat them all. Normally we go halves.
What?
My bottom is now needing 3 chairs because of all these chocolate bloody biscuits. Yeah, and
I'm
I'm going to buy more.
listen, listen, if this is,
Yeah.
no one's listening, I'll tell you, I nearly ate a whole box of pralines at the weekend.
Good girl. Good girl. I love it. And you'll notice that where I've got the camera sort of looking down,
Yes.
and I'm doing a lot of this.
Yes.
So
me
you can't
too.
actually
I
see
keep
the
doing
triple
this.
chin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking hard.
Trying not to. Anyway, what were you saying?
Can't talk because I'm looking at the ceiling.
It's so true. And look at my framing. Look at this. Oh,
Beautiful.
there's nothing to see here.
Gorgeous. Actually, about 2 minutes before, when you had to ring me to ask me where I was, I realised I had my dress on back to front. So I was sitting down ready to go and went, dress alert.
It's funny, isn't it? And you and I have had so many conversations through this time. And I often say during these Facebook lives that I get very nervous and very stressed, and and sometimes my guests are going, "But what should I say?" And and I go, "Look, it's okay. This is different to what we usually do. We're not creating schmick telly here. It's just a chat, and we will be fine."
Exactly. And, the old interweb, does let you down. I mean, I was doing an interview with Rachel Griffiths and it was sort of every so often.
Are you sure that was the technical difficulties?
Oh, no, it was definitely.
Not the wine.
No, not the wine. I don't do wine until after.
Afterwards, yes. Oh, it's funny. Anyway, I always say, and I will, especially with you, say how incredibly grateful I am that I've had your time. And I hope you'll join us again, because I feel like half an hour is nowhere near enough.
I'd love to do that because there's loads of things. There's one other really, really, really quick thing I will say because it's important. It was an important out of that discussion because I think the thing we can't ignore was the full power of Black Lives Matter, as you would know. And one of the things I really quizzed them on in the panel was, okay, you've done incredibly well with women. You've done things like no funding, no woman, no funding. So I've issued them a challenge. I've said no funding, no diversity, no funding. And I've said to them, I'm coming back to you in 6 months. And they all went, yes.
Great.
Because I think it's a huge issue for our business. And this is a moment where we're taking a moment to take stock. And this is part of it, not just production.
I completely agree with you. And the conversations I've been having with people around the world, friends, family, race and gender are such a tinderbox of discussion.
Yeah, they are.
And my experience is everyone's experienced something within the industry, but because we were pushing forward so much, we were working so hard to get the shows done and getting our work done and getting the bills paid and I don't think we had, as an industry, time to stop.
And I think you're right. And I think, there has been quite rightly a really strong focus on women, and that's worked. And to me, that's the trailblazer. And I said to them, well, that worked. So what's next? And you know what I found? Enormous goodwill and utter determination. So it's not like anybody sat there and went, yeah, no, don't ring me. I won't be up for it. No. I think the time's right. And I thank Black Lives Matter for rekindling it now. Not it was always there. It's always been an issue. But
it's on the table now. The discussion is being had.
Yeah, again. And hopefully this time we'll achieve something.
I'm seeing amazing things. The first black cover of Vogue by a black photographer came out this week.
Yeah,
which is fantastic. It's there are little wins. I think there are little wins, and there will be big wins because of the change in the modern vernacular. Everything is changing.
Yes,
and hopefully for the better.
Yeah. So we'll have to work bloody hard to make that happen, Jan. I'm not going to let it go.
Well, I'm right by you. I'm right next to you. Let's do what needs to be done. We'll do it together.
Love ya.
I love you, Denise Eriksen.
And I love you, Jan.
So, look, have a really, really great week, and thank you for giving me your time. It means everything.
Oh, I'll be back like I'm a rat up a drain pipe. I'll be back like a rat
out of an aqueduct. I can't wait. We have so much to talk about.
Yes.
Please be safe in Melbourne. Love to you and yours.
Thanks a lot, gorgeous.
Yay! That was the marvelous Denise Eriksen. You see how amazing this lady is? I told you she'd be great. Didn't she just warm your heart? And also she's changing the world. Of course she is. She's a trailblazer. Always has been. But now getting into the places she needs to get into for positive change. Hurrah! Anyway, speaking of positive change, Thank you for once again joining us here on How to Come Out on Top. I've got a little bit of news for you. You know how we were talking about, upcoming workshops? You might remember that we were talking about the Shooter Producer course featuring the marvelous DOP Andre Evis. It's still happening. We postponed it to August the 21st. That's a Friday. It's a full day course. Now, I'm not here just to throw a course out there and ask you to come to me. No, I'm going to come to you. We've now opened it up to an online course. So, obviously, you're going to get a better experience if you're right here with us in Sydney. If you can't make it, if you're in lockdown in Abu Dhabi, if you are busy, babysitting or taking care of your kids and you can't make it, if you're in Melbourne and you can't leave the state, why not log in online? So you can be here in person. There are a number of spots. I think right now we have 5 in-person spots left. Don't assume they're booked up. You might get in. So we have time. Get yourself onto Eventbrite. The link will be is in Facebook. I think we had some technical difficulties with that, but it's all fixed now. So you can choose the online ticket, which means you're going to have more chance of getting a spot. Or I'd love to have you in my presence so we can have a really fruitful course. Now, what is the Shooter Producer course? It is about basic camera operating skills, it's lighting and sound, and it's field producing and directing. So it's really open to those who are already producing or associate producers who are wanting to step into that shooter producer role. There are so many production companies right now asking for shooter producers because that's how we have to operate in COVID times. And I think that's probably how we're going to move forward. So this will be a really valuable course to say you've done. And once you're applying for gigs, you're in the game. You've got skin in the game. So tickets are on sale. What have we got coming up next week? This week, not even next week, because we're a little bit behind. This week, we'll be speaking to Geraldine Orrock. She's an executive producer. She's produced 3 series of The Voice. She's now working out of Singapore for Beach House Productions. She's head of Unscripted. The important thing about Geraldine Orrock is she's going to tell us about pitching and content creation for the Asian market and international. I'm sure we're all sitting on all those fantastic little juicy ideas, but we have no idea how to pitch them and how to get them out. She's going to be here on Wednesday, 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock Sydney time. Okay, so don't miss that. Then we'll be talking to Andy Trier, who is host of SBS Pop Asia. He's so amazing, such a talent. Don't miss that. We'll be hopefully, if he's not shooting, talking to Osher Ginsberg, the lovemaker. He's the presenter, the host of The Bachelor franchise, The Masked Singer. He's amazing. So I'm sure you'll enjoy joining me for that. And many, many others. So we're hoping we'll have Colin Fassnage too. Again, depends on whether he's shooting. But look, it's COVID times. We've got to go with the flow. Okay? I've got lots of surprises coming up for you. So make sure you keep tuning in. If you'd like to see what we're up to, bloomtimemedia.com, or drop an email, info@bloomtimemedia.com. Just get in touch. Drop me a line, drop me a little PM. I don't mind. I'd love to connect with you. We've had thousands and thousands and thousands of messages. I may be exaggerating. Hundreds and thousands of messages. Millions. No, I've had incredible feedback from you, and it's what has kept me going with this How to Come Out on Top episodes. I've been enjoying it. I hope you have too. A huge thank you to Denise Eriksen for sharing your incredible knowledge and your wonderful energy and spirit. To Tara Johnson, who is our Bloomtime Media production assistant and technical director. She's had to be our IT specialist through all this. And to all our supporters, thank you so much. To my friends and family around the world, Blessings to all our brothers and sisters in Beirut. Love, love, love to all of you who are going through tough times. Let's be together and let's make sure that we can support each other through this difficult time. I wish you all the best. Have a marvelous week. We'll see you on Wednesday, 4 o'clock, for a chat with Geraldine Orrick. Take care.